So we're going to talk a little bit about one of the reasons we brought Jordan on the show is because we talked last week about that House vote on reaffirming "In God We Trust" as our national motto. And I bet in every town that spurred a lot of debate. And here there was a big debate on our local news channel, WOAI San Antonio, where they published the story and opened it up to a Facebook debate. I guess they do their comments on Facebook. And
they do comments on their website, but they specifically posted asking for comments and how what people thought on their Facebook page.
Okay, somehow I got directed.
Comments.
I got directed to Facebook.
And they got 93 comments.
And
well,
it was,
maybe
yeah,
94 or 5.
So there was a lot of comments, and there were some incredibly ignorant comments, and several of us jumped in. Donna,
well, don't be down on yourself, David. We don't think you're ignorant. It's okay.
Jordan, Gary from Canada, the Canadian Gary.
You mean the British Gary by way of Canada?
Gary Clinton Gibbons.
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, Gary.
Hi,
Gary. Sorry about missing your name there. And it started out with a lot of ignorant comments, but we all kind of jumped in. And Jordan, I think, took the bulk of the arguing against kind of idiotic statements. So we're going to let...
He really picked up the torch and ran with it.
Well, let's see the kind of comments that were happening before Jordan showed up. So, News 4 WII today posted, Congress is voting today on affirming "In God We Trust" as a national motto. The resolution will encourage the display of the motto in public buildings, schools, and other government institutions. We want to hear what you have to say about this.
Amen. That was the first comment.
It's about time.
It's about time. Should have been the motto a long time ago.
It was.
Well, a long time ago being the
gosh.
1950s.
It's about time that we reaffirm something that already existed.
But I did like some of these comments, like Carlos here says, I think these knuckleheads should be spending nearly every minute on their overpaid lives on getting our country back to its fiscality.
Back on its feet fiscally. What next?
Yeah, fiscally, sorry. I'm sorry, I'm reading it from assistant. Yeah. A vote on national breakfast cereal. That's the next one.
That's a good one.
I mean, the thing is...
I think it should be Trix.
Do you mean we don't have a national breakfast
Silly
cereal?
Rabbi, myths are for kids.
The thing is, a lot of these Christians, I like their argument of saying this is nonsense. You know, why is this even an issue? Why do we have to vote on this when there's so much more important things to
and
vote on?
Yeah, like the whole budget crisis, foreclosure crisis.
Maybe we should be reaffirming our national bird while we're at it.
Right.
And what
I think
else?
we should change that to the turkey.
Reaffirm our national parks.
Now, I did like the first really snarky one.
Can we change Yellowstone to Jellystone?
That would be a good change.
The first really snarky one was, "In God we trust. All others are subject to the Patriot Act." Okay, so that's the first. And then someone who does start responding when Jordan comes in says, maybe with a little more God in our lives, this nation will be back on track. If you don't like it, you can leave.
Yeah, a lot of people say
those
that.
are always my favorites. You know, if you don't like it, we survived Bush. Guess what? You're going to get over this.
Yeah. Well, one of my first responses was, I was kind of being a smart ass on this bit too. But I was saying I think first America has to come up with a God, then present it to the American people, and then it can earn our trust. You can't just start blindly trusting anything, because then next will be "In God and unicorns we trust." So, I mean, you can't just throw anything out there. And why not make it about America? Why make it about a supernatural celestial being when we can talk about something that every American agree on, Buddhists and Muslims and, non-believers, have it something about America?
Well, didn't you just hear his comment? If it isn't about God, well, y'all can just leave.
Yeah.
So why would they want it to be inclusive of Buddhists and Hindus and...
Well, of course, that's their only argument.
And then you say, "In God we trust" wasn't added to the currency until 1956. "Under God" wasn't added to the Pledge of Allegiance until 1954.
Yes.
In response to, it's always, I think early on, it's always been our motto. Yeah, it always will be.
A person named Beverly says, as far as I'm concerned, we didn't need votes to determine our motto. It's always and always will be "In God we trust." Nobody can take that away from us. You sure can't place our trust anywhere else, can we? I say, yeah. So, and I responded, of course, with the facts.
So some of the incredibly ignorant things. Okay, one, it's always been our motto.
Of course.
ignorant thing.
Right,
more.
which, technically, since we've had an official motto, it has been. But as for always in the course of our country, no, we had the de facto
Right.
motto of E pluribus unum.
Which is a far better motto.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was never...
Maybe they just don't like the Latin. Maybe we should just make it English. Maybe we should just propose that.
That
Right?
would probably
In
be a good
English.
idea because Latin's hard.
Latin's hard.
Shopping's easy.
That'll appeal
Maybe,
to
you know
those.
what? They should have had a vote instead of yes or no. They should have a vote either or, right? In God we trust, or
false
out of
dichotomy.
one men, out of many one. Right?
Out of
Out of many
money,
men.
out of money when?
I didn't realize this was going to be that kind of show.
I'm not going to the bathroom with you, Dick.
Out of many one. It would have been interesting to see how that vote went, or E pluribus
Right.
unum.
Yeah.
So in response to your "In God We Trust" was adopted in 1956, we have this guy John who says, "You have to trust in someone. Why not let it be God?"
But which God, John? I'm assuming it's Yahweh, since the Christian God is the Christian God. I don't think Apollo, Allah, Thor, Brahma, Indra, or any other thousands of gods. They're talking about Yahweh, of course, and it must be highly offensive to American Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, agnostics, atheists, etc. Don't you think that's arrogant of Christians to say only this one God, and don't you think that's Christian bigotry?
Good
point.
The very next comment is, "Quit personifying God so much. Seems like whichever God people believe in, that's the one they trust. So why is this even a question, and how could they offend any of us?" Now, I love this because one of my favorite sayings is, "Quit personifying your computer. It hates that." Which is kind of what this guy's saying.
Yeah, and I love these
He
other
can't
ones too,
really
like-
mean that, though. He can't really mean our motto is trust whatever God you believe in.
Because then it would be, trust
just-
whatever
I mean-
God you believe in.
Right. I mean, because
It could have been in
seriously-
God's we trust.
Seriously, that is not
And it would have been
everything we've heard.
Gods with a
it
little
is a
g.
Christian God. I mean, it is the American Christian God. I think there's an American Christian
very
God.
much says
Yeah.
American gods. Now, what's interesting is after you started posting, then other people started in and
Yeah.
saying, "Why are they even discussing this? It's stupid." Now it just may have been the time.
Yeah, it could have been a time, or it could have been like they don't want to argue it. They just don't want to have any say. It's just I started noticing my notifications are going up too, not only from the people liking my comments and agreeing with me. I didn't get much until towards the end, when of course all of you came in and helped me out a little bit, because I was taking on about 40 people on my own.
Yeah, you're doing a
Hey,
good job.
and you did solid. I mean, you were definitely, to use the gamer term, you were tanking it.
I mean, this is what I enjoy doing. I love having facts, knowing what they know and knowing what I know. They only know what they know. But I've got both sides. So
They only know
it's
what
too
I
easy.
They only know what they know, but I know what I know, and
what they know.
Yes.
Right.
So it does make it easier. But
Do you know what they know that you know that they know?
only if they know it.
Then this guy comes in, which is kind of interesting. This isn't a Christian's country. And I love this. This isn't a Christians only country. Why do people insist on saying for non-believers to leave? That's very Christian of you.
Actually, I know this Vincent. He was actually taking this on his own, and he was kind of being the referee, like kind of.
Well, he's
course I can't
definitely
say.
into separation of church and state.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's really what this whole thing is about.
Exactly. You can be a Christian and you should still be on our side on this.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the original people who were big for separation of church and state were the Baptists, because they didn't want Catholics telling them what to believe.
Yeah.
But
But I made that point, I think, in my when I jumped in. I said, if you have, this is what our founders wanted. If you respect that, you respect what they want. You should be for this.
Yeah.
Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you should be for a Christian motto.
And I took the opportunity, because a lot of people said, well, our founding fathers were Christian, they founded this country on Christian things. So I had to take a quote from a founding father, and I said, let's hear what a founding father has to say. To argue with a person who has renounced the use of reason is like administering medicine to the dead. That's Thomas Paine. And that's why I said it's useless to argue with you, because,
And yet he continues.
Yeah, well,
course, yeah.
unfortunately, in these kind of internet debates, you kind of have to just kind of keep putting those points forward, and different debates, you're using the same arguments against the same dumbass quotes that people have been debunked for years and years and years.
You got that one about Francis Jones?
Yeah, let's read his two posts. So, what kind of voice should Francis have?
Southern drawl.
It's not about if you are religious or not. It's about having respect for our founding fathers, what they did and what they stood for when they gave everything to create what we have today. If you believe or not doesn't mean our history should be distorted to make a few feel more comfortable. There are something we just need to leave alone. I'm not going to say if you disagree with me to go somewhere, but I do know that as we took prayer out of our schools and God out of things, things began to go downhill. Yes, God can save us and our country, but so many have turned their backs on Him. I say leave it alone for the fact that it's our nation's history and because I believe in everything it stands for.
Oh, it's our nation's history.
God.
Our nation's history was also slavery.
Yeah.
but it's
not
not
allowing
our-
women to vote. Should we allow that too?
This is another one that's trying to drag that motto back to the founding fathers. It says, don't leave it alone because this is what they did. And leave it alone. Well, then leave alone the motto we had back then. Let's restore it. That's what the debate needs to be about. Let's restore the motto. Let's restore the pledge.
The whole petition system, the whitehouse.gov petition system, that's what I didn't like about the petition about removing In God We Trust or Under God from the money or the pledge, is because it was all about remove it. Well, no, you got to phrase it in a way that says the actual truth, which is restore.
All right.
Return it to the original founders' intentions.
Yeah, but wasn't one of the original founders Ronald Reagan? Or at least that's what I keep hearing.
Well, yeah, Republicans have a bit of a fetish for that guy.
I actually heard that in the National Day of Prayer event when they were talking about, here's some quotes from our founders.
And it was
And one of them was Ronald Reagan.
So, going more broadly, I mean, do you have any other quotes that you really want to talk about on this specific discussion, or?
No, I mean, if you want to look at this, just go type in news for WOAI today in the search panel on Facebook, and it was last week. I think it was Tuesday. I can't remember which day it was.
It was November 1st.
Yeah, if not second. Yeah, first. Okay. So look, just scroll down a few pages to find it, and you will see everyone except for somebody named Inez who deleted all of his comments out of shame.
All of their comments, not just one or two of them.
Not a single person.
I started the pile on him.
Yeah, and then Gary Clemens Gibbon. Sorry for messing up your name again. But yeah, he even came in and everyone kind of attacked him a little bit. Not brutally, but enough to
calling him out.
Exactly. And he got embarrassed and deleted all of his comments, and
so
he took his ball and went home. Is what you're saying.
It's ironic that he deleted his posts. Is it not?
What I kind of was getting on him about was that he did not want to hear people who disagreed with him at all. Right. He called that shoving your beliefs down my throat and this and that, and why do atheists want to shove their beliefs down your throat, and just about every post and in capital letters. And so my response was
I don't let my mother have Facebook.
It just sounds like, what did I say? Is my comment right there? Oh, he was talking about how atheists are offended when people pray.
Okay, right.
Right?
That would be definitely a straw man.
That would be a straw man.
Right.
So that was the first thing I called him out. I said, "Hey, Inez, quit creating straw men." Jordan never said he was offended when people pray. In fact, I bet that no one has ever told you that they were offended because you bowed your head. I spent a lot of time with atheists. I've never seen anyone get offended because someone prays. No one is shoving anything at you. It sounds like you just have a problem living in a world with people who have different views than you. It sounds like you want everyone who disagrees with you to shut up. It's not going to happen. Get over it. That was my comment.
I'm taking my comment. You're going home. Yeah.
And I just had the lame comment of, let's go back to e pluribus unum.
exactly.
Nobody bothered to touch it. I threw it out there.
People weren't offended that In God We Trust wasn't in there at that time. Why not keep it around?
But I would like to say that of all of these comments, only one person commented all in caps.
Oh, we're so proud.
And it's not even a rant.
You think they just got their caps lock stuck?
I think so. Yeah, it's basically, doesn't Congress have more important votes to be considering? Kind of thing. So that was his rant. So We'll
forgive him for that. We'll
Kind of
forgive
a
him for
little-
the caps.
That was kind
This
of like
time.
a get off my internet sort of thing. Get back to work.
Get off
you
my lawn.
You long-haired hippies.
But yeah, there's plenty of fun little arguments here. I think you should go and look it for yourself.
And I think every
Absolutely.
city, every newspaper, probably had
Oh, yeah.
had fun comments
and
on
I
this one.
encourage people to argue this and not just stay quiet about it, because we're also educating people, even Christians who are skeptical and they have weak arguments. And to see our arguments is going to help them with theirs, and they're going to question it too, because with my personal experience, it wasn't until I started hearing other people's arguments against Christianity is when I started to question it further. I was an agnostic for so long, and because I had nothing to go against Christianity, I know I didn't believe in God, I know I didn't believe in that Christianity was the one and only religion, but I had no other reason to think otherwise until I started hearing other arguments. So I think it is important for us to just, even if we are just making fun of them, not in too much of a ridicule way, because we don't want to come off as too arrogant, I guess, but we have to kind of present these arguments in front of people who may be skeptical.
I absolutely agree with you. We talk about how we can be activists and do our part. I think that may be one of the best things that somebody can do, is just go and be a troll.
Exactly.
Find those arguments and.
Well,
and
no, it's not really a troll. It is
Putting the
taking
facts out
that stand. It's the same stand that when you're at work and somebody uses a pejorative racial term, you stand up and say that is not acceptable. That's all he did. And I applaud you for it. Please don't think that I'm coming across.
I was being a little bit facetious. And what I mean is saying trolls is keep an eye out for these arguments. And if you think that's something like this is going to be on your local website or on YouTube or whatever, find it and make your comments heard. And I think atheist community is doing a really good job of this lately, because when you do go onto these, and skeptic community, you do see, it's very, very seldom where you can see uncontested views, Christian views out there now, because people are finding these and arguing them.
And that's what they hate. They hate a different point of view coming up and saying, no, that's not what everybody believes. How about this? Question, that kind of Aristotle idea of just kind of, how about this?
And it helps you hone your own debating. It helps you hone your own ideas.
I do
too.
say that we probably need a few more people debating on WOAI and like Ken's Five's actual websites, because, wow, you want to read
You'll be outnumbered.
crazy.
Sure.
No. Have you ever read some of their commenters?
Sure, yeah. We'll be we're outnumbered.
These people require a Thorazine IV set on permanent drip. Okay.
Well, try going to the Fox News website. Right.
But the important thing, why to do this is, as you stated in one of your comments, you're not going to change the mind of a true believer. But what you will do is affect the people who may be on the fence or
the lurkers don't know any better. The lurkers who are just reading the comment thread and following along with the argument aren't necessarily commenting. They're like, this Jordan guy's got a point. And look, this Gary guy, this David guy, this Donna woman joining in, and they're making points, and nobody can argue against him. All they do is throw invectives at him and say, well, you suck.
Yeah.
You're ugly, and your mom addresses you funny.
They hate facts.
Okay.
I just wanted to kind of wrap up this whole thing with, since we have Jordan here in the studio with us, is kind of just, a brief opportunity to kind of ask about, what is your favorite skeptical topic to kind of get in, what's your skeptical pet peeve?
What's your thing?
And kind of how you feel, you're part of the movement that is skepticism, and, just kind of talk a bit about...
Are you part of the movement that is skepticism?
As of a month ago, I think I am. I think meeting Hitchens and Dawkins and meeting other people, which I've never done before. I've never been surrounded by intelligent people in that amount. I think that helped me a little bit. And, of course, with my music and stuff, too, I wanted to kind of make thought-provoking lyrics, something that isn't around right now in any genre of music, really. You hear, rock, rap, everything. It's just nonsense. And I thought maybe,
So you're saying you're not Justin Bieber?
Another 10 mention coming up here.
He would be if they'd pay him.
Exactly.
I would. Yeah. They paid me.
I've got some YouTube videos. But anyway, the reason, I guess, the obvious, knowledge is power. And from reading books, of course, Hitchens, Dawkins, and Sam Harris, reading these books, it's helping me with my arguments. and it's helping. And not only that, but I have my own arguments already. So when I read these other arguments, I love watching Christopher Hitchens' debates on YouTube. I spend 9 hours.
Slap.
Yeah, exactly. Some nights where I spent 9 hours just watching a continuous amount of Christopher Hitchens videos. I highly recommend that if you're not familiar with Christopher Hitchens. But really, it's just I was brought up in a of course I started off as a Catholic, and then my mother married of course my stepdad, who just happened to be a pastor's son, and I was kind of pushed in the church every Sunday, forced to go to Sunday school. And it wasn't until I was 11 years old and I was called a nuisance for asking questions.
That's always the way it is.
That's what it is. It was pretty much the Jesus story. It was Jesus turning water into wine. Well, the way I interpreted the story, it was Jesus got a magical stick. He put it in the river. And my question was, and it turned on to wine. I had to stop. Oh, wait a minute. So, and she thought I was being a smartass, but really I was just curious. I was like, so did these fish die? I mean, what happened? She told the story wrong. The way I interpreted it, is the way I remember it too. But she did tell me. I think what she meant to say was
trash can punch.
Exactly. She put they put a trash can in the river, took the water out, and then did this. But the way I heard it was, she put a stick in there, and I was thinking, well, how long did this go? Was it all the water they was touching? Did they go into the ocean? When did it end? And asking specific questions.
That's making me think that the whole loaves and fishes was just a couple of sardines and a crust of bread now.
Yeah. But the thing is, why wine, and what kind of wine was it? Was it specific wine?
Was it Merlot?
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't get past that. I couldn't.
We know it was a good wine.
And that's what made me think that it was like, okay, well, if I'm threatening, they can't give me an answer. And I noticed that every single time I asked a question, well, God works in mysterious ways.
Yep.
I never got a straight answer, and I thought maybe I've heard this before when I was told about Santa Claus. Like, how come we don't hear him? How come we can't see him? Holy shit, this is history repeating itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that led to you being skeptical and asking the questions that brought you to us today. So,
Yay.
We appreciate you joining in on our conversation.
And he actually has some more to contribute.
Yep,
Because we have to start
the lightning round!
Lightning round!
Okay, let's get started on the lightning round.